to talk about with the endgame today,
All
so
right.
let's dig right in.
Endgame.
Path of Exile 2's early access began with a brand new endgame, and it was clear that it needed a lot of work.
Ja.
After absorbing your feedback, we're ready to make some epic changes.
Das jetzt. Ja,
The
okay.
first thing is, we just need a lot more content. In Dawn of the Hunt, we have made sure to focus on increasing the sheer number of interesting and different encounters you will randomly stumble into as you explore the endgame. And the second goal is to smoothen the progression through maps and reduce the amount of annoying busy work. To start with, let's talk about the new interesting stuff to find. Well, the most obvious thing to add are new maps. As well as the Azmeri ranges that Jonathan mentioned earlier, Dawn of the Hunt also contains 7 other new maps, all with their own custom encounters. Let's start with this one. The Feral Megaliths map starts off in the wild Ezomite forests. As you progress through the forest, you will find mysterious rune-carved stones that, when touched, surge with energy. After activating all the stones, you can find a grand henge, where all the energy is coalescing.
Diablo
You
2.
can then start an
Tristram.
encounter. The area
Diablo
darkens,
2.
a storm moves in, and a concentration of energy summons a dangerous boss. You must fight and defeat the boss to get its rewards. Once you have defeated it, summon another. And another. And another. And another.
Okay.
You have 10 total waves of boss fights which get incrementally more difficult. If you manage to defeat them, you get full boss rewards, but also opportunities to get new runes. These can only be obtained from this map.
Increased
The
skill
Fractured
speed.
Lake contains a surreal waterscape with
Ah,
fractured mirror-like
ich
objects.
liebe diese Map. Die
As
Map
you
ist
move
so
around
nice.
the map, the terrain itself elevates from below, creating the ground you walk on. In this unique map, all the rare monsters are mirrored, so you're always fighting 2 of the same rare at the same time, which can prove quite difficult. If you manage to overcome that challenge and make it to the end of the map, you'll be presented with a broken mirror, a powerful altar-like object that contains an item within it. The item contained within is a new base type, either an amulet or a ring, that can be crafted to have additional prefixes or suffixes at the cost of the other. The
Whoa.
last unique map we'll show today is one based around the essence mechanic. You enter a crystalline cavern, and you will find a powerful map boss imprisoned in the center. It is surrounded by many rare monsters,
Let's go,
also
let's go,
imprisoned
let's go,
in
let's go, let's
essences. By freeing and defeating the rare monsters, the essence they held will be upgraded to a greater essence and be added to the imprisoned map boss. How brave are you? How many essences will you add to the boss? Overdo it, and you might lose everything. Underdo it, and you might regret it. It's your choice. Speaking of essences, alongside visual improvements, you're now able to apply Vaal Orbs to corrupt the essences with a range of unpredictable outcomes. It could increase the number of essences, re-roll all the essences to the same type, or even upgrade the essences to greater essences.
Oh, nice.
What if they're already greater essences? Well, it can upgrade those too. We have 4 new corrupted essences. Essence of Hysteria, Delirium, Horror, and Insanity. Each corrupted essence has its own interesting combat mechanics. For example, the Essence of Insanity causes you to question even your own mind, as monsters split into shadowy clones, and you must locate the real one before a devastating icy explosion freezes everything around it. Each of these has their own crafting outcomes. The Essence of Insanity can be applied to a belt. It adds a mod that will ensure the next Vaal Orb used on the belt will guarantee adding 2 enchantments.
Holy.
It's worth noting all the essences in the unique map can also be corrupted too, if you're willing to risk it. It's worth noting we have also added 10 extra Atlas passive points you can earn by completing 5 different unique maps.
Nice, das ist sehr gut.
Now, new maps are just the beginning. We had a goal where we wanted to make sure you were constantly finding exciting new content, and that it could be lurking around any corner. So, we have added a bunch of new things that you could stumble into in any map you run. On your travels, you will sometimes encounter rogue exiles.
Okay.
Others like you who have been exiled and are openly hostile. Some are malicious, some are mad, while others are simply fiends for loot. They will challenge you, a fight to the death.
That's nice.
They use the same skills available to players, and even the same items. aren't just dressed up in those items, they're actually using them. It's going to feel like a true player versus player situation. Of course, if you are able to slay these exiles, those items will all drop on the ground. So if you encounter an exile using a powerful or valuable unique item, which you can see displayed under their life bar, you want to be damn sure you kill them. Because if they kill you and your party, they'll portal out taking their items with them. Every fight will feel completely different depending on the items they come equipped with.
Nice, nice.
These
I love
exiles are much smarter than your regular monster. They have capabilities to dodge roll, avoid your abilities with smart pathfinding, smart targeting, and much more action-packed gameplay. Fortunately, they're like you and they're not super durable. Unless, of course, they're wearing uniques like Helm's Heart, in which case, expect a longer battle. There are 12 different rogue exiles you can find, each with their own skills and personalities. Some may insult you, while others may admire your honor in combat. Another encounter you might stumble onto in Dawn of the Hunt are one of 4 new unique strongboxes. Strongboxes are chests with modifiers. When you try to open them, they activate traps and spawn waves of monsters that you must defeat to access the loot. Let's take a look at 2 of the new unique boxes that are harder to find and behave just a little bit differently.
Okay.
The Ogham's
Das sieht
Legacy
aus wie ein
Strongbox
Wal.
has a corpse splayed
Das-
out in front of the rune-carved stone. Upon interacting with the stone, you activate Forbidden Ezomite magic, which
Wonderful.
revives the monster as a powerful rare. The Strongbox comes with a modifier which determines how many times it will revive that rare. Each time you defeat the monstrosity, the Strongbox revives it again, adding an extra modifier to the monster. With each
Nein, schon wieder.
resurrection, it
Ja,
becomes more
das ist von
difficult,
dem
but also more rewarding.
Stream.
This strongbox is infused with thaumaturgy
Kann
from
nur sein,
ancient Foul
oder?
technology. Eshel's Torment has a powerful artifact inside, and is guarded by chaos itself. Defeating the monsters will grant you a unique item, with a specific corrupted outcome. You'll have to find the other 2 for yourself, to see what they do. Now,
Nice,
let's
okay.
talk about the introduction to the endgame. Upon starting the endgame, Doriani tasks you with cleansing corruption to help restore the land. However, in practice, the quest objective just sent you on a grind to clear 15 maps. We wanted to make the quest to unlock your Atlas passives much more interesting. Now,
Please.
Doriani is tasking you with a more specific objective. On the Atlas, you will find areas of corruption caused by the beast. In the center of each one, you will find a corrupted nexus, the source of the affliction. In the areas leading up to the nexus, you will notice that corruption spills out from slain enemies and amalgamates into powerful monsters. Corrupted maps existed on the Atlas before, but we've done significant work on improving these monsters. We've also done a full pass on the modifiers on these maps to make them more interesting and more rewarding. Once you reach the nexus, you will have a new task: cleanse the source of corruption. When you defeat the last rare in those maps, they will spawn one of 3 terrifying bosses, amalgamations of corruption itself. After defeating that boss, Doriani will come and cleanse the corruption for good. As the remains of the boss are purged of corruption, it coalesces into raw crystallized power, which you can use to gain points for your Atlas passive skill tree.
Oh, nice, okay.
The upgrade system that allows you to add and enhance content in your maps. We didn't stop there though. When you complete a corrupted nexus, all of the remaining surrounding corrupted maps will become cleansed maps. Cleansed maps also have new monsters,
Nice.
a
Was auch
new
immer das
boss,
ist.
and their own set of modifiers and rewards, including finding fracturing orbs by slaying cleansed enemies. These orbs can be used in crafting on a rare item to cause
Okay,
one of
okay.
its modifiers to become fractured.
Oh.
A fractured modifier is one that cannot be modified by any means. You are able to freely modify the item, ensuring the fractured modifier will never change. If you get the right item with the right mod, it can prove to be a very powerful crafting base indeed. You must
Huge.
now choose. Do you complete all the corrupted maps and then the Nexus? Or maybe you beeline to the Nexus, complete it, and do all the remaining maps cleansed. Both have rewards to entice you and challenges to assess. Now, let's have a talk about towers. One thing we've had
Towers.
a lot of feedback on is the busy work around running towers and managing your tablets. The first change we've made here is that we have reduced the number of towers drastically.
Boah, Gott
So
sei
there are now
Dank.
1/3 as many as before, but
Viel,
we've made
viel
them
besser.
much more powerful.
Ich hätte Towers, die 4
To
Stück auf
start with,
einem
tablets
Haufen
now
bauen.
inherently add twice as many mechanics. But that's not all.
Oh,
Running
nice.
higher tier maps and towers now increases the number of mechanics applied by tablets. By
Okay.
tier 15, the bonus is double, allowing a single tablet to now add 4 times as many mechanics as before. So, we're running far fewer towers, dealing with fewer tablets, and affecting even more maps than before. But because there are fewer towers overlapping with each other, you won't get as many opportunities to stack different tablets. In order to solve this, we've made it so that each tower can consume up to 3 tablets at once. You always get 1 slot on completing the tower, but if you can complete a tower with more mods on the waystone, you can unlock a 2nd or 3rd slot. Overall, this allows for even more juicing from towers, while drastically reducing the amount of busy work you have to do. On top of that, towers are much more interesting maps because they can now spawn with all mechanics, including bosses. Each tower map has a
Okay.
new boss. Let's take a look at a couple here. The boss fight of the Alpine Ridge map has
Ja,
2
Kamehameha.
powerful witches
Erinnert mich an
contesting
StarCraft
for
2.
territory. One witch
Protoss-Kampagne.
has an affinity for ice, the other fire. Who will win? Hopefully neither.
Lunaris.
The boss of the
Sun,
sinking fire map is a
Lunar,
remnant of
Lunaris
the
und
Val that has been charged with the lightning.
Sunnaris oder so, keine
It
Ahnung.
uses a full suite of lightning abilities. But be careful. If any of them hit the surrounding constructs, they will power up. Another thing that we've seen a lot of feedback about is sustaining waystones. As we looked into it, we realized that the people who couldn't sustain waystones were dying a lot. A lot more than we had expected. And that
Waystones?
made us realize something. During the campaign, the expectation is that you can die multiple times in order to learn how to overcome challenges. You are able to learn how the monsters behave, adapt to their skills, and eventually overcome them. But as soon as you get to the endgame, you're effectively no longer allowed to die if you want to
Richtig, das ist
sustain
sehr
waystones.
dumm gewesen und sehr
By the
kacker.
time you are getting towards the end of endgame, we want you to have to be careful not to die. But it certainly shouldn't be that we have such a sudden shift as you run your first maps. The first change we're making is you can now respawn and return to a map if you die. Continuing from where you left off.
Okay, was ist der Catch?
When you start the endgame, you get up to 6 total attempts per map. As you add more modifiers to a waystone, the number of respawns goes down.
Ah, wunderbar.
This means that as you get to the point that you're running every waystone as a rare, you will have to be more careful. In parties, everyone gets to respawn that number of times.
Okay. Ah,
But we still think
wunderbar.
it's important that you can kill a boss in one go. In order to allow that to happen, we've made a change so that once you start the boss fight, it changes over to the same respawning system we use for pinnacle bosses. This means that the map owner can choose to respawn everyone at the same time.
Das ist so gut. Das ist so gut.
Another complaint we've seen a lot of is players not wanting to do the pinnacle content because of the experience penalty from dying.
Ja, ich hatte auch
A
keinen Bock
change
mehr.
we've made here is that all pinnacle content now no longer grants experience, but also no longer removes experience on death either.
Wow,
Dawn of the
huge.
Hunt also brings the first batch of Twilight Order reliquary keys from the early access supporter packs. These keys contain items selected by our supporters. They can contain any unique item found in Path of Exile 2. If the selected item is a pinnacle boss drop, then only special keys dropped by this content will be able to provide these items. For example, Hand of Wisdom in action can only come from a key dropped by Zesht. We're also making a change that allows pinnacle boss uniques to drop at any difficulty. Rarer uniques will be rarer at lower difficulties, but still possible to find. This applies to the drop chances for the reliquary keys from this content as well. We spoke about towers and tablets earlier,
Wa-
but we have also added a suite of
War das
unique
gerade ein
tablets.
Pay-to-Win
Each of these
Mechanik?
adds crazy interactions to the maps influenced by it. For example, this unique tablet allows you to run any map in a tower's radius without requiring connections, which can be quite useful for jumping gaps and and
Boah,
traveling
das
around your
ist,
atlas.
das ist nice, ja.
And this tablet causes all runic monsters spawned during expedition encounters to be duplicated, and weakens all expedition monsters that emerge from the ground. The Atlas tree has also been expanded, and you can find many of the new mechanics there, and improvements to existing ones too. Now, through this live stream, we have mentioned quite a few new crafting options that we've added. New runes, corrupted essences,
Ja.
fractured mods, and jewelry
Alles
crafting
Endgame,
bases.
alles Endgame.
But we did have just one more crafting system to talk about.
Boah, bitte.
Recombination. Expedition was the only in-game mechanic that was lacking a crafting system, so that needed to change. Recombination is a mechanic that might be familiar to some players. It
That's
allows
so
you
bad.
to merge two items together, hoping to get the best elements of each on a single new item. This new crafting bench will be unlocked as you complete your first expedition, and requires artifacts found during expeditions to fuel it. The
Okay.
rarer the mods on the item you are combining, the more expensive the cost. That wraps up all the major in-game changes we're talking about today. With all the system changes and new content, we can't wait to get in there, start blasting maps, and obliterating monsters.
Okay, wir
There is
haben...
one more thing we wanted to
Okay.
clarify before we move on, which is that all the content we've talked about today will be made available in the existing early access leagues, so you can play your existing characters. However, there will be new leagues made for those who wish to start in a fresh economy.
Ja, bitte.
It
Ja.
is recommended to start over and get the full new experience in the Dawn of the Hunt leagues. For all our existing early access players, we're really looking forward to joining you playing in this new update. For those who don't already have access and are interested in playing Path of Exile 2, Dawn of the Hunt, you are able to at any time purchase an early access supporter pack at www.pathofexile2.com.
Ach so, nee, dann vergiss es,
Additionally,
dann
the
war es doch kein
Paladin and
Pay-to-Win.
Penance supporter packs are now available to purchase in Path of Exile 2 and contain 6 microtransactions each and the full pack's face value in points. All the microtransactions contained within these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your character's power or progression in any way. Thank you so much for your ongoing support. We're just about to start the Q&A with Ziggy D. With release
Okay.
at the end of next week, our community team will be posting crucial information you'll need for the release. Keep an eye on the news.
Nice.
On release
War doch kein
weekend,
Pay-to-Win.
we expect
Okay.
to launch the new
Freut
mystery
mich.
box and many new microtransactions, including Path of Exile 2's first alternate skill effects. Thanks for joining us today and checking out our latest developments.
Okay.
We're looking forward to playing the Huntress, trying new builds, and exploring the new endgame.
Ja, ich spiele auf jeden Fall die Huntress. Hätte ich nicht
We'll
gedacht,
begin the
dass sie mir so
Q&A
sehr
shortly,
gefällt.
so please get your questions ready.